Chargers, they have hired Brandon Staley from the Rams defensive coordinator. I know you have stuff to say, and we feel very similar about this, but it just doesn't make sense to hire a defensive-minded coach when you have Justin Herbert. If he continues to find success, you're gonna lose that offensive coordinator, the head coaching jobs, potentially. That then for you potentially, have different offensive systems that Herbert has to go through. I saw that with Carr. Carr last 3 years with Gruden his numbers have been consistent and raising. Over the last couple times when they keep switching coordinators, he struggled and he went up and down his production. I don't want that out of Herbert. I want Herbert to succeed and develop. So for me, I wanted an offensive-minded coach in Los Angeles to help Herbert's progression. You have this quarterback on a rookie deal. We've talked about this. Buy into him. Get him pieces he needs to succeed and go be successful with him. But what do you think of this one? Like, does this make sense to you, or you feel the same way as me about this?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I agree. I was surprised that just based on anecdotally what I came across on Twitter and Facebook, what the Chargers fan base was saying. My belief with this is that you have a gift horse in the mouth with Justin Herbert. I want to do everything I can in my power to continue to develop him. We've seen lots of rookies or rookie quarterbacks have success, right? It's about how you develop, right? Even look at the drop off guy like Baker Mayfield's had between his first and second year, right? Like I love Justin Herbert. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's going to be an all pro in this league. You still have a shaky offensive line. I would just want to make sure that is my primary asset. I want to do everything I can to grow, develop, and protect that asset. Now, social media Charger fans were pretty much universal in their disagreement with me. So what they tended to be saying, is that Chargers already have a top 10 offense, which I don't think is true. But they have this offense. So now we can have a top 10 defense, and this is really going to help out. Look, to me, the biggest issues that we've had on the defensive side of the football, I don't think it was an issue necessarily with Gus Bradley. I think it's an issue that Derwin James has, for 2 out of 3 seasons now, has been out, that Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram can never play 16 full games. Like there were so many other issues. The fact that you traded Desmond King for a 6th round pick, like there were so many other issues to me of why the defense had issues beyond just who was the coach. Yeah. So like if he's able to solve all those issues and all of a sudden make Derwin James an extremely healthy player, then sure, we're going to have a success here. The other thing that came out is that Herbert reportedly loves his relationship with the OC. Pep Hamilton, the current Chargers quarterback coach, did a great job. Part of me, though, also wonders, look, these guys were the same coordinators and quarterback coach when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback and when Phillip Rivers was the quarterback, and they looked terrible. So how much of their offensive system and their coaching was because Justin Herbert is a phenomenal talent, and how much of it was because of their system, right? So that's something that like I really question right now as well. Like, you want to tell me how good this Chargers OC is? What did they do the first 2 games with Tyrod as their quarterback? I mean, the answer is nothing, right?
Nothing.
And so I need more data from all those parties involved before I'm able to say any of this. The other thing, to go back to your point, Kyle, if there is some great offensive system, you're going to lose that OC. Pep Hamilton, the quarterback coach, is already having some interviews now to be an offensive coordinator. My biggest concern overall, right? Because maybe this guy is the, defensive Sean McVay, both in the sense that, he's coming from the Rams and he's very young. But and to the people on, social media's credit, sure, if he can fix this defense, if they can have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, yeah, they're going to be pretty good going forward, right? What I would say, though, what concerns me is that you hired a guy who has spent 1 year as a defensive coordinator, who has no head coaching experience. I think that they brought this guy in so that Tom Telesco, the GM, can still pick who the rest of that coaching staff is. Specifically, he wants to pick the offensive side of the ball. You in classic Chargers fashion, You picked a guy who had very limited coordinator experience, zero head coaching experience, a guy that you're going to be able to control and hire the staff around him, and you're not going to have to pay him anything. Based on those 4 key characteristics, which have been true of every Chargers hire ever, whether it's Norv Turner, whether it's Anthony Lynn, whether it's Mike McCoy, like all of these things show to me that the Chargers are not interested in hiring the best potential head coach available. They're interested in hiring the cheapest one that they can control, right? So maybe all the fans on social media are right. This is a, genius defensive stalwart playmaker who just had a number 1 defense with the Rams. Maybe, sure. He was also coaching a defense that happens to have the best player in all of football, in my opinion, in Aaron Donald, and the best cornerback in all of football in Jalen Ramsey. So, like, shouldn't he have the number 1 defense going forward? I really hope that I am wrong about this. But to me, all the evidence points to this is a classic Chargers hire, and it's going to be a classic Chargers hire for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I will concede, though, that this one does have some exciting potential because he's so unknown. So I would understand why people would be excited about it. But again, I can't argue with the points you made. It is a classic Chargers hire, so it seems.
Well, and I get that too. But if I hire like a gopher to be the head coach, there's going to be some unpredictability too.
Who knows?
Right?
There's a horse in the hospital. That's a John Mulaney bit talking about Trump.
There you go.
In year 2 of his presidency, when you watch it now, that bit is a little not as fun.
That was like a great bit by Mike Birbiglia, who he compared George W. Bush to Wiffle Ball Tony. And I was like, and Wiffle Ball Tony's great when he's only in charge of a wiffle ball. But then you put Wiffle Ball Tony in charge of everything. And he starts getting into fights with people at other picnics, and he starts throwing hamburgers at them. And he says, but they had hamburgers first. And then it turns out that they never had hamburgers. They had hot dogs, but they were only throwing them at each other.
We'll be right back.